Howdy folks, welcome to a brand new episode of the Indie Focus. Today we are playing Assault Android Cactus, developed by Witchbeam. It's a top-down, crazy, twin-stick, bullet hell, shooting, mayhem shooter. It's absolutely crazy. If those adjectives don't get you excited, I do not know what will. The game is labelled as early access, but don't be fooled by that. There is so much content available thus far. We'll hopefully make some sort of a dent in it today. We probably won't, but we will try. We will try it. Before we jump in though, before we jump into the play mode of course, and check out the different game styles we can play, we'll have a look at the collections. Now this is a very neat feature. It allows you to get a bit of a backstory, a bit of behind the scenes on the characters of this game, and I'd say the different environments too. So the people you meet, the androids that you meet in this game, the enemies that you destroy in this game, all have a bit of lore behind them, so it's really cool to be able to go here and check out all the stuff about them. So I thought that was quite cool to show you guys first up. Let's have a look at the different play modes. We've obviously got ourselves the basic campaign, story mode, you know, start to finish. We've then got ourselves Infinity Drive, which I believe is an endless mode of sorts. So you're able to fight waves and waves of different enemies, and then have your total score put up against your friends and see who's better and who's not. Then you've got yourself the Daily Drive, which is pretty similar to the Infinity Drive. You do like a daily seed and try and get the highest score to show off to your friends. And last but not least, you have yourself the Boss Rush mode. Now, if your butt didn't get kicked enough in the campaign mode, you can go here and try out the Boss Rush mode and get your butt kicked even harder. So without further ado, let's jump straight into this, straight into the campaign, and see what's all this game's all about, you know? Let's see what's all about. So here's the base story. Junior Constable Cactus responds to the crippled space vessel, the Genki Star. Attacked by the massive freighter's asteroid defense systems, she is forced to perform an emergency landing in the hangar bay. On board, Cactus discovers the Genki's core is offline and the ship's robots are attacking the crew. That doesn't sound good. Encountering fellow androids unaffected by the malfunction, Cactus attempts to lead them on a desperate gamble to retake the ship. So there we go. That's the backstory. You're pretty much you're on a ship. There's robots, and you got to kill them. Beautiful. So we meet the first and probably the most important android, which is Constable Cactus. I mean, the green hair is obviously a dead giveaway. As you can see down the bottom, she has both a primary and a secondary weapon. Now, these weapons will come in handy quite a fair bit, so it's we'll probably be using both of them very often. So without waiting for anything crazy to happen, let's jump straight into this. Oh, look at that sass. That's pretty good sass right there. So this here is the tutorial. I won't read any of these text boxes because it'll take me too long and my voice is terrible, so you're all the work to read it yourself. It's just kind of displaying what we're going to do here. So as you can see, this is a twin stick shooter. You use left stick to move, right stick to aim, and just shoot. Just keep on shooting. You pretty much don't let go of that shooting button the entire time. It's just that crazy. Each of these different enemies drop like these little energy/experience bubbles, these little diamond things. You use them to power up your primary weapon. So this little laser beam of sorts, little laser rifle, will get more and more powerful, as you can see right there. The bullets get bigger and more fast and do some crazy good damage. We meet our first sort of like, it's not quite a mini boss, but it's a more powerful enemy. These ones here, this is when you got to start using your secondary weapon more often. The secondary does a lot more damage. It's just limited in the amount of ammo available. So with Cactus we have a flamethrower, and does some pretty serious damage. Each of the different androids you can play as further on, their primary weapons and their secondary weapons sort of show off what kind of character they play as. So each different character has a bit different playstyle. Cactus feels like more of an in-close with the flamethrower destruction type being. If you miss that, then we pick up battery to survive. Now, you have health, you can die, but when you die, you pretty much respawn straight away if you're obviously, you know, helping yourself back up. The level only is failed if you're on a battery. So every now and then, a random enemy will drop a battery, and you fill up your little battery bar, but if that drops down to nil, that's it. It's game over. Okay, so we have a couple of other androids to choose from. We have ourselves Holly, we have ourselves Lemon, and Coral. And as you can see, each different android has a different moveset. Holly has Seeking primary bullets and a cannonball for a secondary. Lemon has a spread shot and rockets, while Coral has a shotgun and a plasma field. Now for today's playthrough, my favourite character is Lemon. You'll see very shortly why that is. She is absolutely OP. Okay, so we come up to the level selects. It's a very, very simple, yet different, unique level selects. You can walk around and choose all different places. So as you can see, we've got 4 sort of basic levels before we get ourselves to a boss stage. So let's jump straight into this and get our butts whooped. The key to this game is picking up power-ups and just dodging as best as possible. When you change your weapon from your primary to a secondary, you may notice that the android does a bit of a flip. You can use that little 12/flip as a way to dodge bullets. It's like a little bit of invincibility frames. So if you've ever played games like Dark Souls, or Dark Souls 2, that's a very wide, diverse range, you can use those invincibility frames to pretty much dodge any attack the enemy throws at you. They do come in handy more often when you get to boss fights. Not as much in these areas because it's a bit too crazy and intense to keep up with. But it really does save your life if you don't use it. Or if you do use it. It doesn't, obviously you die if you don't use it. You may also notice that power-ups get dropped. There are 3 different power-ups, I believe. A blue one, a yellow one, a red one. The red one acts as like a damage up. It gives you a bunch of little robots to help you out with your ammos. They shoot off a lot more bullets. That yellow one, that yellow power-up right there is a speed boost. We can use that to go super, super fast. And the blue one you might have seen pick up before acts as like an EMP. It pretty much disables all the robots, all the bad guys, lets me just kind of unload on them. As you can tell, it does get a bit crazy. Everything sort of builds up. A lot of crazy enemies, so it's best to sort of just try and kite them around. Try not to get stuck in a corner. I'll hopefully not get stuck in a corner, you know, on a kind of shelf that I'm really good at this game, which I am not. It just gets really intense really, really fast. I was describing earlier how it's like an arcade-ish game. You can really get the feel of it. You have tons and tons of enemies, and you just got to go around and just stay alive. Just keep shooting, don't look back, just go crazy. Now you can imagine playing this in local co-op. Having 3 other androids on screen shooting at the same time would be absolutely crazy. So we get our first look at the scoring of this game. You get scored based upon how good you can chain combos together, how many people or how many bad guys you kill, and how many times you die obviously gets deducted from your score. So for this level we've got a B. That will now go onto the leaderboards, and every other person that owns this game that's friends with me, I can compare what I got on this level with them. And obviously that score's probably the best, so we'll quickly move on before anyone sees it. So the enemies do change with every different area. So in this area here, the basic robots are like these really weird crab-looking creatures, and the little flying drones that fly around and just shoot off a few bullets here and there. Okay, we'll use our rocket launcher to save our butt right there. Just know that it picks up very, very fast. It might not look like too much at the start, but then all of a sudden it's just enemies, enemies, and more enemies. So as soon as you let go of that trigger, you're gonna have a bad time. It's best to just keep holding on. Make sure you keep moving so you don't get destroyed, and just keep shooting. And obviously picking up the battery. If you don't pick up the battery, it's all over Red Rover. You can also notice that the music changes depending on how intense the screen is. So when you hear that music going crazy, you know stuff's about to go down.
Battery over here.
Okay, let's grab that battery. At the same time as grabbing those little bubble/diamond experience spheres. I don't think they're spheres. I think they're a different sort of shape, but we'll just call them spheres. They make my weapon so much more powerful. This is why I like playing as Lemon. The scattergun just really, really works with crowd control. I can pretty much mow down all these bad guys without even breaking a sweat, to be honest. And can combine that with, oh god, the accelerate power-up, and nothing will touch you. Like, nothing will touch you. Right there as well, you may notice that the power-ups do stack. So if I pick up an acceleration power-up and then people went up just before I lose it, it will add on. So it's good just keep an eye out for that stuff that does pop out. They do randomly change if you leave them there for long enough. I don't know if they despawn. But I do know that they change from the different sort of power-ups, so you can leave it there if you want to. It's like a sort of a really risky thing to do, obviously, because you might leave behind something that could save your butt right there and then. But if you want a certain power-up, wait for it and let it happen. Now that was substantially better. Get the S, get the S. We got an A. So we've gone from a B to an A. That's really good. We're making some good progress. Okay, here we go. This is where things get a little bit cray-cray, but that's okay with us. Now, this game is, obviously, as I explained, early access. It is available on Steam for $15. When you consider the price and how much is actually in this game right now compared to how much more is going to be added, it's definitely worth every single cent. The single player sells itself. The local co-op is an absolute crazy bonus. So if you've got some friends that get this game, playing with them is something you definitely want to put on your bucket list to do one day, because it is absolutely awesome to do. Okay, grab the battery. Try and keep that battery above half all the time. Don't want to make any mistakes and leave a battery behind. No battery gets left behind, of course.
Battery here.
But it is absolutely just crazy how much power-ups change in this game. Like, you could probably get through most levels without using any sort of power-ups, but they just make it so much more possible to kick butt. Okay, we got ourselves a crazy dude. When you see the crazy dudes, obviously you want to use your secondary weapon, otherwise it's going to take forever. If you do have one of the power-ups though, you can sort of cheese it a little bit, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So I'll test out this little feature. Now, if you swap weapon just as you go through a bullet, those are the invincibility frames I was talking about. They do, on many of the occasions, save your butt. So it's best to use it as much as possible. You can't use it straight away, so you can't spam it. There is like a bit of a cooldown on changing weapons. So make sure you only use it where you really need to. Okay, just kite around them, don't get stuck. Make sure to grab that battery. The time is getting down pretty low, but we should be fine. Let's just sort these guys out with a few missiles. A few very crazy misguided missiles, of course. You may notice that my attacking style is very terrible. And you might also be asking yourself, is it purely a controller-only game? No, you can play it on keyboard and mouse. For personal preference, I like playing on a controller. It's just much more comfortable. A lot more comfortable. If you've been paying attention to the scenery thus far, you may notice that every single level gets a bit more close, a bit more tighter. That sort of adds a lot more suspense to the game, a lot more craziness. And you've really got to just pay attention to the layout of the level and use it to the best of your ability. So right now, I'm going to try mostly best to try and weave in and out of these little flower petal shaped. They're not quite flower petals by any means, but you know. Just try and use them to our advantage and not get stuck in any place.
Firepower extended.
Okay, firepower. Save me here. We're getting pretty close to dying. Okay, we're down. So you want to tap fire when you go down. Get back up straight away. It seems that when you do revive yourself like that, it does give you like a bit of a seismic boost. A bit of a seismic charge that goes across the room. It knocks most enemies away from you, so you can get a bit of a, a bit of a recovery to go back and just get your butt kicked again.
Accelerate.
So not doing too well on this level thus far.
Battery here.
Okay, there's the battery I need. Beautiful. Just gonna keep moving. Keep on moving, because it's gonna get very crazy soon. Try and pick up those little gems of power-ups as well. If we can get our primary weapon up a bit higher. Ooh, okay. So introduced to another, I guess, enemy. I don't really think it's an enemy, but it's someone's gonna kick your butt regardless. Just want to steer clear of it. Oh, okay, we're getting pretty close to our... Oh no, I'm not gonna get that. Oh, okay, got pretty close. Gotta find myself. There it is. Okay. Whew. Whew. I got a bit too close for comfort right there. You really want to pay attention to your battery. That's pretty much everything in this game. And obviously at the same time trying to dodge everything rather than run into it, of course. Use our primary to good effect. Oh no. Okay, we're in a bit of spot of bother right now. Hopefully one of these dudes will... There's the battery. Uh-oh. no, get out the way. I need that battery. Beautiful. Rev.
Down.
Okay, there we go. It's seriously crazy how much a power-up can change the tide of battle. I was in no way going to win that, but thank you for that battery. And that power-up was beautiful. So there are the 4 levels completed. We've now come upon the first boss of this game, which is Embryo. There's actually some really cool dialogue with these boss fights too. So if you can obviously read that for yourself, check it out and whatnot. Don't want to spoil too much for you, of course. So let's jump straight into this boss fight. There's 6 different phases of this boss fight. So we'll have to kind of try and defeat him as fast as possible before things run out, of course. So first stage, pretty simple. Just sort of... Yeah, very, very simple. I think the better strat would probably get right in close with him. There we go. Secondary weapons are very, very effective against bosses. So it's best to use them as much as possible. Oh, okay. Didn't have much secondary weapon, apparently. That's all cool. So apart from that little blemish at the start, hasn't been too bad of a boss fight so far. I expect him to get pretty crazy all of a sudden. I mean, the music's definitely picked up. That's a good sign, right? It's a very, very safe sign. Surely it doesn't mean we get our butts whooped now. Ah, nice easy phase. Throw off a few little missiles here and there. Beautiful. Okay, how crazy are we gonna get now? Pretty crazy. He's a very mad one, Embryo. Very, very mad one. So we'll just try and keep the same strat as before. Try and keep him in front of him. Because it looks like those bullets are going to be absolutely just terrible to try and defend against. Especially with the little invincibility frame spins. Doing very well to keep that battery above as well. Oh, he's coming towards us. He's a bit faster than before. It doesn't seem too difficult though. Just keep popping off missiles and hopefully hitting them. Oh, just dance around the bullet. Okay, final stage. The Big Kahuna. Oh, diddly. Okay. So there's a lot going on right now. If you have a PC that can't cope with this sort of stuff, this game might not be for you. It does get pretty intense on the screen sometimes. So there's the boss down. Obviously, Embryo is supposed to be the first boss. Supposed to be a pretty easy boss, so you don't expect too much of a difficulty change. But as you progress from area to area, expect to get more difficult. It ain't gonna get more easy. It'll get much more difficult. So we did pretty good in that level. We got a D. Surely that's a really good score, of course. Now, after each area, you do unlock a new android. We've unlocked ourselves Starch, and that brings a whole different playstyle once again. Obviously, the primary weapon is a laser rifle. The micro missile launcher is the secondary. So if you want to try that sort of playstyle, you can choose Starch. You can always muck around with different characters. Personally, obviously, I choose Lemon. That spread shot, just for area control, is wonderful. Whatever plays into your playstyle. If you prefer using micro missiles and lasers, go Starch. If you prefer flamethrowers and an assault rifle, Cactus is your heroine. She's your android of choice.
Yes.
So after completing that first set of levels, we now open up a brand new area. As you can see, another 4 levels and a boss. We won't be able to check that out today. That's pretty much it for now. So that there, folks, was Assault Android Cactus. It's a game you can pick up on Steam for $15. If you enjoyed any part of that, if you think this game is for you, I highly suggest picking it up now. I don't know if it's ever going to increase in price, and that's ever going to be a thing. But for the amount of content in it already, the amount of content planned for it, it's probably a really good investment. So I do hope you enjoyed today's Indie Focus, folks. You can see the leaderboards, or you can't see the leaderboards apparently, that's not a thing. But the collections do increase based on what you see, so that's pretty cool. You can always check out these different enemies after you've killed them numerous times. But that is it for today's Indie Focus. I thank you so much for watching, folks. I will be back next week with a brand new indie game to show off to you. And hopefully you enjoy it. Thank you so much, guys. Take care.